Testing, testing. Alright, we're running now. Alright, FEMA, EMILMS.FEMA.gov, Independent Study 1004, FEMA Site Inspection Process. This course should take approximately 4 hours. Alright, lesson 1 overview of the project. Overview and objective of the lesson provides an overview of the administrative requirements, goal of the objectives of the course, also discussion of the site process, inspection process, review of the process of the sequential over the lesson. Will focus on pre-site inspection action of the applicant and recipient. Upon completion of this lesson, the list of participant will be able to identify administrative requirements of the course, state with the goal of the objectives of the course, describe the process of the site inspection. This lesson should take approximately 30 minutes to complete. Overview of site inspection process 1. Site inspection cover the day during phase 2 of the public assistance process. For the purpose of the site inspection, validate incident-related damages listed on the applicant's damage inventory. On the site inspections include the validation of the facility definition, water line, and its internal ground, of what happened to the facility with the cause, failure, mechanism, dimension, materials, through what applicant said, disaster conditions. Site inspection are complete with a member of the applicant, staff of the applicant, representative that all information needed to formulate with the project damage or description and dimensions will be recorded. Site inspector inspects all sites identified by the applicant, reports with a list of damage and provide with the exemption of the following conditions. All parties of the FEMA, the recipient, and application concur with the site and eligibility. Applicant completed the work and validated through the appropriate documentation. Photograph of the damaged site with the after repairs area complete. Forest account records. Overview site inspection process 2 of 2. Applicants should be prepared to explain to the site inspector how they intend with the repair with the damaged site. All of the sites and conditions should be clearly articulated with the facility evaluation. Potential future request change with the original scope of the work without need of another site examination or site inspection. Information includes site location, including street address, accurate GPS coordinates, photograph, the documentation, overall site condition taken in distance of isolated specific damages taken close up with the appropriate direction, scale, the sketch of the site, plan drawings and or as-built specifications if applicable. Visual overview of site inspection process with the graphic display of the entire site inspection process. Knows the applicant responsible for the bottom row. Alright, 101, the visual overview, site inspection process, visual over inspection process with the action, move of the FEMA to the top of the site, inspector middle with the applicant role, FEMA role, PDMG, schedule site inspection, application review, approve of the SI report with the send of the DDD to the applicant and approval of the site inspector, view project, conduct inspection of the entire SI, site inspection report, review of the DID, send site inspection report to the PDMG to review the edit of the site inspection report. Applicant and company site inspector with the site and signed site inspection report, review and sign the DDD. DDD is the damage description dimension, the PDMG program deliverable management, PW project worksheet, and SI site inspection. So you have your FEMA, goes from PDMG site inspection to review a project, then to conducting an inspection while the applicant accompanied with the site with the inspector sign of the site inspection report and the site inspection report and review of the damages to the send of the report over the PDMG review, the PDMG review report and edits the site inspection report with the PDMG send the damages DDD applicant approval to the review of the sign and the DDD, the damages. Damage description, dimensions, program, deliverable, managed, PW project worksheet, and SI site inspection. Alright, pre-site inspection acts for the job of the critical actions of the applicant taken for the prior of the site inspection. Recall that the applicant program deliberately managed for the other relevant the FEMA public assistant for the personnel should schedule the site inspection during the immediately following the recovery scoping meeting. Applicant has from the recovery scoping meeting with the site inspection date with accomplished the following: when the collect the relevant disaster documentation, establish a point of contact with the FEMA that can reach the site inspection purpose as well, accompanied with the site inspection during the day of the inspection, determine the tools for the necessary for the inspector, mileages, counters, and truck ladders, range, etc. Pre-site and pre-meeting commission coordinate with the call with the site inspector with at least 24 hours prior to the site inspection, with discuss the order of the sequence site that can be inspected, discuss any potential hazards, safety concern, whether any report or work has been done since the time of the site of the inspection was scheduled, finalize with the time and location meeting during the inspection. Conducting site inspection 1 of 2. At the beginning of the scheduled site inspection, the site inspector introduced the FEMA staff of the applicant with the applicant and representative explained with the purpose of the inspection staff, the role of the site inspector with the review the site inspection work order within. Applicant explained with the agenda of the inspection. Most essential part of the site inspection involved the capturing of all incident-related damage information appropriate to the site inspector. For the report, the site inspector will document the damage, including claimed by the applicant. The report is captured for the description of the facility with the exact dimension for the damage, including specific material size, capacity, model of the components, cause of damage, confirmation of whether the damages were caused by incident or the damage occurred by the incident period. Conducting the site inspection 2 of 2. Site inspector also completes a special consideration questionnaire. Site inspection report. Site inspector captures his or her discussion with the applicant, how the applicant planned for the repair of the damage within his report. Site inspection will include additional to the comment of the question with the applicant have with regard to the site of the site inspector discuss with the applicant how they plan to repair the damage and capture the conversation. The report include any of the additional comments to provide with the applicant and how they plan to repair the site. At the end of the site inspection, the site inspector ensures all of the sections site inspection report are complete. The site inspector will require the applicant review the concurrency and require report by initiating dating each page. After the site inspection is complete, the important site inspector discusses the next step of the applicant to ensure he or she is fully aware of the grant profit. The site inspector is notified with the program delivery manager on the site inspection report entered into the grants management. Is entered into the grants manager. This was lesson 1 summary of the lesson. Participant learned about the overall site of the inspection. The next lesson will cover the action taken prior to site inspection. Lesson 2 overview of the draft. The lesson covered the action taken prior to the site inspection, included the appropriate documentation, identifying with the key personnel for the contact with the coordinate with the site inspector. The lessons also review the documents for the action taken of the support of the site of the inspection profit. Upon completion of the lesson, participant will be able to identify the reported documents needed for the support of the site inspection profit to discover the necessary action prior to any inspection. Lessons should take approximately 1 hour to complete. Collection of the documentation. Key effort to lift the graph on grant application profit to maintain, keep the well and maintain itself the incident related the damage documentation throughout each of the grant phases. This may become accomplished by providing the relevant and pre-incident photo with the documentation comparison of the post-incident condition, if possible, the intern and itemize the damage inventory spreadsheet, which should be completed with the recovery scope at the meeting. Damage location, routing, and plane with the physical address on the site to be inspected with the GIS, coordinated with the accurately latitude and longitude. It is very important for the application to understand the damage inventory spreadsheet should be completed with a timely fashion. The timely completion of the damage inventory spreadsheet allow for the sampling inspection, which save the time, increase the efficiency, and the process. Collection documentation, damage inventory. For the damage inventory, you for the applicant with the capture of the all incident with the related damage claim with the name of the damage line with the items that must be all be clear with the distinctive description of the line items should be provided with a high level summary of the damage sustained with the facility and the work performed. Descriptions must also be accurate and explain with the type of the facility with the damage component with the facility, what will cover the damage, extent with the damage with the facility, work complete with the temporary repairs, items removed from the facility, etc. In case of the flooding occurred, but the description must include the length of the time when the facility was underwater. Each damage item on the project is required by the applicant to provide such source documentation compared with completed work. Applicant is not able to separate the source documentation. Support each line of the item protected with the project should have only one damaged line item. For 100% complete work of the damage inventory item, the applicant must provide with the support documentation completed with the work claim with the support of the documentation. 100% of the completed work damage inventory items should be scheduled with the specific dimension of the facility as well as repair. For example, the application should provide start and GPS coordinates for the road and length, width, and the depth of the road repaired. Applicant site inspection point of contact. It's imperative for the applicants to identify the site inspection point of contact with the FEMA site with the inspector point with the contact and potential shaft Staffing is often determined by the recovery scope of the meeting prior to the site inspection. This also entails the identifying key personnel who explain with the intent of the relay of the damage of the depth while the accompanying the site inspector during the inspection. Applicant's personnel must be able to discover the component of the damage element of the detail of the site inspector to capture all information from the site inspection report with the further he or she would authorize the site inspection report at the end of the site visit. Preliminary site inspection process. FEMA site inspector does the following: prepare for the site inspection, review the facility related documentation, and clarify issue for the question with the program delivery manager. Prepare the appropriate site inspection report for the relevant category of work. Gather the necessary tool for the confirm with the site inspection time of the meeting place with the applicant. Coordinate with the environmental historic preservation specialist to inform them any of their concerns. Coordination with the FEMA program manager, delivery manager of the applicant should coordinate with the program delivery manager before any site inspection occurs to determine the order of the sequence of site requiring during your inspection. The discussion should verify the zoning routing planning and include the example of the optimal inspection route, increase efficiency with the date of all time that may be necessary to relieve the estimate with these time frames of site inspection. Pre-meeting coordinated call. Pre-meeting coordination call. The site inspector will call to the applicant site with an inspection point of contact to perform the site inspection time of the meeting place with one business day prior to the scheduled site inspection. They also refer to the pre-meeting coordination call. The discussion focuses on whether the work over there is completed with the time of the inspection scheduling. So for the inspection unnecessary for the applicant consent with the receipt of the FEMA the eligibility determination or reimbursement. Except the issue solution will determine during the call. The site inspector will ask the applicant about the safety concern of the IEG. High water lock fence gate that displays wildlife to ensure that they will be able to inspect the damaged sites. Site inspection tools. Ensure the tools of site inspection are ready with the general best practice. Often indicate that the applicant will have the better access to the appropriate tool for the reach of the FEMA site with the inspector will make easy for the conduct of the inspection. This becomes the applicant and often knows more about the incident related to damage fish firsthand. Example of the commonly used the site inspection include carpenter's tape measure, long tape measure, measuring wheel, mileage counters, and work trucks, ladders, range finders, location information, latitude, and longitude, and cameras. Alright, all the following of their actions are the applicants take ready to get the site inspection. Coordinate with environmental history, yes. Ensure the access for the appropriate with the tools and incident during the inspection. A pre-meeting coordination call. Coordinate with the program to deliver the order and sequence of the time and inspection. Lesson 2. This lesson participant learned with the action of the taking the prior site inspection necessary for the cover of the roles responsible to the applicant and the FEMA site inspector during a site inspection. Lesson 3. Overview objective. The lesson will discover the roles responsible to the applicant with the FEMA site with the inspector during the site inspection stay. Starting task the applicant with the representative of the site inspector for the site inspection limitations will also be covered. Upon completion of the lesson, participant will be able to explain what the roles responsible to the applicant and the FEMA site inspector during site inspection. Lesson should take approximately 1 hour. Visual oversight of the inspection process. Recall the visual overview of the site inspection, which was introduced in the first one. FEMA the rule of the program. Program delivery manager for the go of the review project for the conduct of the inspection with the site inspector and the applicant. Have accompany the inspector with a sign of the report with the editor of the review with the damage description, dimension, and send of the site inspection worksheet. Program delivery manager to the review of the program during the room with approve of the report with the edits for the report. Program delivery manager then sends it to the applicant with the review and sign within the damage description dimensions. Applicant and representative of the task 1 of 2 with the several critical tab of the applicant with the applicant representative of the accomplishment during the site inspection. The applicant with the representative must be present in the entire site inspection. Whoever accompanies with the FEMA site inspector should be K personnel with specific knowledge of the site with the dimension, damage components. Applicant with their representative must be able to identify with the present damage, verify with the site inspector, explain with the damage of the incurred during the most recent and current disaster rather than the past recurring program. Applicant and applicant representative task 2 of the 2. The applicant and applicant or applicant representative they have additional responsibility must ensure the safety accessibility of the damage site so that they can be respectful to the family applicant and or representative must verify the site inspection report complete before the signature and initials are provided. They must sign the site inspection report with the site location once the inspection is complete. There's not a financial commitment on either applicant or FEMA. It's important to note that the FEMA site inspector will cancel the reschedule of the applicant and or their representative cannot be present during the inspection. If there are any concerns with the outcome of the inspection, the application should promptly notify the program delivery manager. FEMA Site Inspector Task 1 of 2. It's utmost benefit to the applicant understand the curve of the FEMA the site of the during the site inspection, namely to have the FEMA site inspector the primary responsible for facilitating site inspection process, filling out the category specific to the site inspection report. Let's start with the inspection. The site inspector will review the site inspection work order of the applicant and for the duty into FEMA with the personnel with the role during the process with additional staff include recipient staff, the technician, specialist, environmental, historic preservation, mitigation, insurance of the specialist of the Consolidated Resource Center, site inspection. Additional FEMA, the personnel will work with the applicant to validate the various damage identified with the work order as they go into site inspection. The site inspector will capture the incident-related damage information site inspection report with the information included with the description, facility, exact dimension for the damage, including the specific materials, size, capacity, amount of the damage component of the cover, the damage information for the incident cover, the damage that occurred during the incident period. FEMA Site Inspector number 2 of 2. Throughout the inspection, the site inspector will take with the measure for the note and the photos of the develop sketch of the need with as much of the detail of the report as possible. The site inspector will record the narrative of the applicant and the representative describing the site with the damage. The site inspector will take the additional photo of the close up of the rave of the concern of the need to discover the program delivery manager. Example of the concern of the damage of the not seem to have been caused by the event. The damage area that does not appear to be required of maintain. The facility that does not appear to have the active use. Site inspector will discover the applicant how they repair the damage if it included with the work will be performed by the contractor of your employee with the equipment and force account. Repairs will be charged for the pre-incident of the damage and the order function of the chain with the pre-incident of the design function due to the code from the chain. If any of the chain of the type of the materials will be used to repair. Site inspector will capture the conversion of the site inspection report, including the additional comments provided by the applicant and how they plan to repair. And we'll see the link of the large version of this video. Shows work order damage site inspection facility report category C bridges applicant FIPS applicant with the site inspector applicant address city state and the zip code inspection GPS the latitude and longitude damage of the physical location year built span tape arc beam the cable stay and that's there for bridges legal responsibility yes or no decking for the number the span number the lane the dimension facility description and pre-disaster function capacity for the dimension and the applicant representative signature in 1 of 2 of however many pages. Special Consideration Site Inspection Report 1 of 2. The site inspector will also throughout the special consideration questionnaire for the applicant with the ensure that provides site specific information for the question for the yes or ensure that these questions may be similar to what applicants ask for the during the recovery scope of the meeting with the important with the applicant but know that they will be asked for the specifically with the damage inventory line item under the inspection. Applicant answer for the least question will play the significant part of the eligibility determination, drive the potential environmental planning, historical preservation, hazard mitigation, insurance. Concern for the special consideration questions are the damage have the insurance coverage and or is it insurable risk building and equipment vehicles. If the damaged facility is located with a floodplain with a coastal high hazard area that have the impact of the floodplain wetland, can it project with the site impact by flooding will occur within 200 feet of the waterway or water body. If the damaged facility is located with adjacent the coastal barrier of the resource service of the system of the unit unless otherwise protected area. What will the proposed facility repair with the exterior of the chain with the incident condition footprint would include the depth of the footprint material with the location capacity of the use of the function, who constructed the access road with the table to the staging area of the other work outside of the constructed right of way. Special Consideration Site Inspection Report 2 of 2 of the remaining special consideration questions found with the R. Number 5 for the applicant hazard mitigation proposal with the applicant technical assistant hazard mitigation proposal. 6 for the damaged facility listed on local, state, and national historic register that was likely recognized landmark is older than 45 years old. Provide age of the facility and any large undeveloped undistributed area of the or near the project site or the area of the hazard material of the adjacent with the damaged facility. Are there any other environmental controversial issues associated with the damaged facility and or work item? And then you'll see the whole page here. And then it has those questions. Alright, FEMA site inspector limitation. Eligibility. FEMA site inspectors discover the special consider they have serialization of the applicant. They will not discover the concern of the eligibility during the conduct of the site inspection. They will only take the extent of the notes for the document of the damage point without the applicant. The site inspector will not include the additional damage site inspector report that are noticed and conducted with the inspection and potential the issue be identified and should be documented to discover the program delivery management questions that are not related to the site inspection must be documented. Direct with the program delivery management, environmental and historic preservation, his mitigation concern, accessibility and site of the inspector is not accessible due to the obstruction route with the pathway of the other general safety concerns. Inspection will need to be rescheduled, postponed under the site is accessible. Alright, final steps in site inspection process. In addition to the time of the necessary for the inspector of the site and identify the site inspection work order with the site inspector can schedule a follow-up inspection for the applicant. The site inspector must then ensure the site inspection report is complete before the applicant approved and signed with the finally the site inspector will communicate with the next step of the property applicant at the end of the inspection. The site inspection report will serve as the foundation for the damage description and dimension of the grants portal. Alright, select the answer of the following should be the site inspection during the site inspection. The description of the site, exact dimension for the damage for each incident, cause the damage confirmation, incident damage for the damage during the incident period. I'm not really caring about these questions, but Lesson 3. In lesson the participation and learning of the roles responsible for the applicant of the FEMA site that is inspected during the site inspection. Next lesson will cover the step of the material that is associated with the post-site inspection period. Lesson 4. Overview of the objective of the lesson. Discover the step of the materials associated with the post-site inspection period. The damage description of the dimension will be introduced upon completion of the lesson. The participant will be able to identify the step of the materials associated with the post-site inspection period. The lesson would have taken approximately 1 hour to complete. Damage description dimension. For the damage description, the dimension is one of the most important sections of the project for the grants for the information of the FEMA determine the damage of the public system to define with the exemption, scope of the worker associated, call for the site, inspect the data, collect the inspection, photograph the schedule for the drawing site, measurement, and develop the damage description dimension. The site inspection will enter the site inspection report with the grant manager of the system will auto-generate the damage description and dimension. One of the program delivery manager with the review of the damage description and dimension of the applicant will be able to accept the review of the grants portal. FEMA and applicant will work together to reach an agreement with the detailed damage description and dimension before proceeding with the further. For more information regarding damage description and dimension, refer to course IS 1007, the detailed damage description and development. Task of post-site inspection. After the site inspection, FEMA site inspector will populate site inspection report, upload with the photo of the upload with the report with the grants manager, either the damage description dimension or the upload with the appropriate attachment with the grant manager. It is best practice for the applicant forward additional use of the items in FEMA to include the photo documentation, damage of the picture of the taken from the smartphone, documentation collection, and the responsibility. Program delivery manager and site inspector for them not maintain long-term work relation with a single applicant, but they may not work in the same physical official location. Applicant's program delivery manager for the documentation submission outside of the grant portal should be coordinated with the program delivery manager. And then show the knowledge review questions. We'll keep going. Lesson 4. The lesson participant learn the step of the materials associated with the post-inspection incident period, as well as the damage description dimension. That's the lesson review of the course object with the participant. Complete the course evaluation form. Take the post-course assessment. Alright, lesson 5 overview and objective. The lesson will review the course objective of the participant. Will take the post-course assessment with the conclusion and of the lesson participation will ensure on the right of the content of the course of the lesson should take approximately 30 minutes to complete. Course objective and the course of the participant learn to describe the site inspection process, explaining the roles of the site inspector for the applicant regarding the site inspection process, discuss the exemption during and after the site inspection process. Lesson 1 overview introduce the course of the beginning with the administrator of the information course objective is the overview of the site inspection process. The key takeaways applicant responsible to identify the reporting and some of the related damage. Pre-site inspection act the collect relevant documentation incident related to damage, establish point of contact the company of the site inspector, determine the tools are necessary for the inspection, participate introductory of the pre-inspection call, coordination call, 24-hour call within the site inspector, Final of the time, location, meeting during the inspection, site inspection conducted on-site, conduct the site inspection report will capture description of the facility, exact damage, and they include specific material size, capacity, module, the components, cause of the damage, confirmation where the damage were caused, the incident of the damage occurred with the incident period, post-site inspection activities. Lesson 2 overview. Lesson 2 covers the actions taken prior to the site inspection, including the appropriate support and documentation, identifying key personnel with the points of contact. Further coordination, site inspector. Key takeaway for the applicant responsible for the inspections are ensuring that all damage relevant to the document has been submitted to FEMA program delivery manager and establish point of contact with the company with FEMA site inspector during the day of. Participate pre-meeting coordinated call, 24-hour call with the site inspector. Require their appropriate tools for the site inspection. FEMA responsibility before site inspections are to review the applicant damage inventory, designate site inspector for the inspection, gather equipment tools that may help during the inspection. Lesson 3 overview. Lesson 3 discuss the roles and responsibility applicant of the FEMA site inspector during the site inspection. Sharing the starting with the task applicant with the applicant representative of the site inspector for the takeaway. The applicant with the applicant representative responsibility includes ensuring accessibility, safety of all the site under inspection, ensure the personnel with the relevant knowledge, incident of the related damage, who will the company the site inspector throughout the inspection, verifying signs and site inspection report at the end of the site inspection, notify the program delivery manager for the ongoing concern with the post-site inspection. FEMA site inspector responsibility of facility, the site inspection review, the site inspection work order, applicant take measure for the new photos and develop a sketch for the site inspection report. Court applicant's explanation of how the site was damaged, ensure the site inspection report was completed before the applicant signs it. Communication, next step of the process for the applicant, special consideration, site inspection report, FEMA site inspector limitation. Site inspector should not discuss eligibility, but rather take note of any of the concern with the applicant. Site inspector should not identify new damages that were not listed with the original work order. Alright, Lesson 4. Lesson 4 overview covered with the step of the material that associated with the post-site inspection period of the damage, the description of the dimension of the project was introduced. The key takeaway of the damage description of the dimension of the automatically during with the FEMA grant manager and one for the site inspector enter under the information in the system. The applicant can accept view of the after the program delivery manager approves it. Special practice forward additional useful to the FEMA include photo documentation, damage and pictures taken on smartphone, documentation collection, responsible program delivery management. Site inspector do not maintain a long-term work relationship with the site applicant, but they may not work with his physical office location applicant, program delivery manager. Documentation submission outside the grant portal should be coordinated through the program delivery manager. And that's the course summary for the not complete with the course review of the Keystone step of the FEMA site inspection course. And then you have to take the final exam of the EMI Independent State Course Exam Site. Copies of the exam answers shall now be associated with at least the 75% of the question correctly. And that's take the exam. And this has been the IS 1004 FEMA site inspection process testing.